Hello, my name is Kayla Humphreys, and tonight I'm going to be talking about what I chose to do my research paper on. And I chose to dive into how you can positively influence your coworkers and how to gain influence in the workplace. And my thesis for this was looking at the positive relationship building that you can have at work, also the importance of knowledge of nonverbal communication, and how you can gain power in the workplace, and also how you can work on persuasion and using that to all help you influence those that you are around at work. And in an article published by Mind Tools titled Building Great Work Relationships and Making Work Enjoyable and Productive, they talk about the several key ways that you can build solid relationships at work. First is trust. Trust is super important because you need to know that your coworkers believe in you, they trust you to get the job done. And in a quote from that article, it says, "Trust is when you form powerful bonds that help you work and communicate more effectively. If you trust people you work with, you can be open and honest in your thoughts and actions, and you don't have to waste time and energy watching your back." So when you're trying to build influence, make sure that you trust your coworkers, but more importantly, that they trust you. Second is consistency. You definitely want to be able to be a consistent person, both in your personal life and in your work life. According to Jason Demers of Forbes, he says, "Inconsistency is the fastest way to ruin your reputation. Consistency, on the other hand, is slow but sure if you execute your tasks effectively and on time, day after day, and eventually people will come to rely on you." And you definitely want to be that person who has consistency attached to your name at work. If you aren't able to get an assignment in on time and that becomes a pattern, bosses aren't going to believe in you, your coworkers aren't going to rely on you, and you aren't going to be able to influence people that you work with, and you won't be able to move up the chain of commands if that is your goal. Next is reliability. It kind of goes along with consistency, but according to McIntosh, Perry, Lucy, and Richard, in the workplace, reliability is a personal quality that gives others confidence in saying or thinking, "I can count on that person to follow through." Not everyone has a reputation for consistency, and those who lack it lack the ability to influence others. So being reliable and being consistent is very important when hoping to influence others. Fourth is mindfulness. Practicing mindfulness is huge in the workplace. People come in, they have lots of stress from their home life, from their jobs, and you don't necessarily know what's going on in everyone's lives. So when you're being mindful, it's when you're essentially being considerate of your coworkers. You are remaining positive at work. You aren't letting negative talk, thoughts influence your conversations with your coworkers or things like that. So practicing mindfulness is huge when you're hoping to make a positive effect on people that you work with. So next is building influence through nonverbal communication. Nonverbal communication is so much more than what you're actually saying. You communicate more through how you carry yourself and different gestures that you use. And a study done by Latting and Ramsey titled Reframing Change, How to Deal with Workplace Dynamics, Influence Others, and Bring People Together to Initiate Positive Change, they did a study where they had pairs go off and the storyteller was to talk to their partner and the listener was to sit there but give really bad nonverbal communication. They were supposed to look at their watch, they were supposed to slump, not pay attention at all. And the storyteller reported feeling unimportant, they didn't feel like the person cared. And then they did the same experiment but switched it to a positive manner where the listener was very engaged in everything they said, gave them good eye contact, nodded, asked questions, and it was reported that the storyteller was very much had a positive effect after feeling worthy and feeling important after that conversation. So your nonverbal communication, Jacqueline Smith is a writer for Forbes, and she talks about the 10 nonverbal cues that convey confidence at work and help people also feel confident in you. The first is to have good eye contact. Kind of obvious, but people really do feel important when you're giving them good eye contact. Next is a professional handshake. You don't want to have a floppy little fish when you shake someone's hand. Present yourself with confidence, a good handshake. Also, you want to use your gestures effectively. Next, you want to dress the part. Dress for the job you want, not necessarily the job you have. So dress for success. Number 5 is to carry yourself with authoritative posture and presence. Don't be shrinking back in meetings. Make sure that you are there feeling confident and authoritative. That will convey that you are ready to take control. Next is use appropriate facial expressions. Also, you want to always be the first person to initiate interactions, such as handshakes, and make sure that they're confident when you give them. Number 8 is be aware of your tone. Make sure that it is appropriate for the setting. So if someone is talking about a death of a loved one, you don't want to be chipper about it. You need to be considerate and play off the emotions of the people you're talking with at work. And number 9 is to give your full attention through body language and eye contact, like it was seen in that study done. When you really do pay attention to the people around you, they feed off of that. And lastly, read and respond properly to other people's nonverbal cues. So if your boss comes in a bad mood and you can tell, that is not the time to go in and ask for your day off next week. You need to just pay attention to what is going on and read other people's nonverbal cues. And the next portion of my research that I looked into was gaining power in the workplace. When you want to move up the chain of commands and when you're influencing people. Griffin, Phillips, and Gully 2016 said, developing your expertise and performing well can help increase your power. So make yourself vital in the workplace. You want to be not just a great team player, but you want to be someone that is motivating others. You want to be someone that is researching and really passionate about the work that you have, so that way you can show your boss and show the higher ups that you deserve a spot moving up the chain of commands. And next is persuasion in the workplace. So whether you're looking to pitch your idea to the board of directors, or if you're working in HR and you're trying to convince someone not to leave, or maybe you're proving to the higher ups that you need more resources for your team, persuasion is key in knowing how to get what you need or want in the workplace. And Aristotle addressed persuasion in depth when he talks about ethos, pathos, and logos, and so studying those can really help you in gaining knowledge of persuasion. And my argument for this research paper was having technical skills is important, but it is imperative to have good interpersonal skills when needing to influence others in the workplace. And my hypothesis and what I really wanted to dive into and what I believed before starting this research was that in order to truly excel in business and in the workplace, having genuine communication skills and knowledge of how to influence others will work in your favor, and ultimately it'll help you surpass others when it comes to moving up at work, and having great knowledge of these soft skills will really help you. The results that I found after all of my research show that knowing how to use nonverbals can communicate more than your actual words. I also found that when you're hoping to gain power in the workplace, persuasion is key. But when you're looking to grow strong work relationships, you must establish consistency. You need to gain trust and strive to have open communication with your coworkers. So when I suggested further research in this area, I thought it would be really interesting to have managers who maybe don't necessarily get along as well with their employees, and have them go through maybe some training to see if they can better improve their interpersonal skills and see if they can better connect and influence with their employees. So in conclusion, when hoping to bring influence to others at work, make sure that you know how to define good workplace relationships. Also, make sure to know the significance of nonverbal communication. And when you're striving for power at work, know how to utilize the power of persuasion. Thank you for listening, and I hope you have a great night.